All right, let's call a meeting to order. I'm going to start with the roll call.
Ms. Cooper Payton,
Here.
Ms. Harrell,
Here.
Ms. Hetland,
Present.
Mr. Jacobson,
Here.
Ms. Jones, Ms. Orcherton,
Here.
Mr. Patterson,
Here.
Ms. Salmon,
Here.
Ms. Snyder.
Here.
Okay. I understand we have one change to the agenda. There will not be the grant presentation from Taslim Jamila for the Speak Life project today. That will be continued at our next meeting. So next, let's move to the approval of minutes of the previous meeting. Did anybody have any changes or comments they wanted to make about those minutes? Okay, I move that we approve them. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay, let's move ahead then to the grant presentation. First one is Luis Gonzalo Pinilla. Is it Pinilla or Pinilla? Pinilla. Colored Voices of the World. Come on up.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
My name is Gonzalo Pinilla. I'm from Colombia. I'm a visual artist.
I'm Patricia Leon. I am from Colombia too. I am a photographer.
First of all, we want to thank you, to thank the Urbana Grants Public Arts Program, Dr. Preston Williams Elementary School, the Center for Latin America and Caribbean Studies for their support throughout our project.
Okay.
Colored Voices of the World. The main purpose of the project Colored Voices of the World was to engage the Dr. Preston Williams Elementary School in a collective artist creation, providing a space and time to strengthen human relations by integrating the community school. The project incorporates reflection on identity, diversity, collaboration, and interaction, reinforce the sense of community, linking students' families with teachers and even students themselves. The project also helped promote a cross-cultural experience that reinforced the significance of strong social ties in a diverse cultural environment of Dr. Preston Williams Elementary School.
So the project was structured into different phases. The first phase was a series of workshops with the children from the school. We, as artists, were providing technical schools and a little bit of conceptual also guidance for them to produce the first draft of the mural. In that way, we were creating structuring a visual language for defining the final piece of the mural.
Okay.
Let's see.
Participants.
Participants, okay. At the beginning of the workshops or the project, we had 19 students, participants. They were from 4th and 5th grades. The group included students from different countries. The number of participants at the beginning was 10, then grew up to 19, and 11 parents with their kids participate too.
So those are images from the first part of the project, when we were, again, as I was saying before, defining the imagery for the idea, the final idea of the completion. So we were using the installations of the school for doing this. After it was considered an after-school activity. Those are some of the sketches. We were providing kids with different materials, and in order just to have them engage in the whole process, experimenting with drawing and painting and looking for the right colors and composition for the final piece. So for the second part of the mural, we were working with integrating families, because this the second part was more required a little more hands for the production. We were working in the space of the gym at the school, working in the floor of the space, because was easy to move materials and also to move the panels in which we were creating the mural. So we were using again the previous sketches and combining them in a single composition. For this part of the project, we were doing 8 workshops during the 8 Saturdays, working from 1 to 4 p.m. Because we have to move all these. We have a space for keeping the material, but we have to take them every time we went to work on this. So this is as you can see, this is one of the final steps of the project. This is all the pieces together. We are still waiting for do some little details to the final product, and we are doing also providing a protection layer and waiting for the city to define how the installation will be, because we need a special. They require the installation of the piece require a special technical procedures in order to the piece to be in place. That's like the last part of the project that we are thinking about, and for that part of the project, we are thinking about releasing a calendar, including the final piece, and the calendar will be sponsored by the Center for Latin American and Caribbean Studies
of the university. Well, working with partners was very important, thanks to the support of the Urbana Art Grants Program. And with the Center for Latin American and Caribbean Studies of the University of Illinois, it's possible to create that calendar that Gonzalo told us about that. Another another partner was Michael Stores and Los Dos Reales Restaurant provided us with a wide variety of materials to use during the workshops and the production of the actual mural. Dr. Preston Williams Elementary School provided the space during the wall project to keep materials. With the assistance of the school principal and the school coordinator, we had supported, we were supported and allowed to stay and use the school. We also created a website as a site of promotion and as a resource to show all the process of the workshops. We started the website or the blog in October 2017, and in January 2018, we put the first image until today, April 10. And we will continue feeding the blog until the completion of the mural.
So this is the website that we are keeping as a memory of the project, and then also
This-
as a way of sharing what we are doing.
This, you can see the archive of the where you can see all the process and what is about the project and some image that the kids did. All the process start here in January, but this is the workshop inside the school, in the hall of the school, and in the gym. As you saw in the gym, we used to put all the wood together to process or to develop the mural with the family, with the children. Was a nice experience to be with them. We share a lot of different histories, and the kids developed a new new resources, try to develop a different kind of straightening in real, every time that we get together, kids focus on develop new skills to provide new drawings, new ideas. In these ideas, they show identity, also curiosity, and making diverse things and experimenting with the painting and the composition, focus on the details. Was a very good experience for us, and I think for the community too.
So we want to thank you again for this opportunity for give us the possibility of offer our skills as artists and as our ideas, and to create a community during this year-long project. Thank you again.
Thank you. We've got a few questions here.
I was just curious, once it's completed and mounted, where will it be mounted at the school?
We have already a place at the school. There are, because the part of the the hallway is symmetrical, so they have a mural in the opposite side of the. So we are using the same dimension as the other mural in order just to keep like some kind of symmetry and aesthetic for this. Yeah, but the concern is that the city has to install it in order just for us not to damage anything.
The building,
I was curious because I've been to the school for other programs, and I'm going over there for a different program next week or the end of this month, and I was going to go look at it in person if it was already installed, but maybe not yet.
No, yet. And also because we were waiting for, during the last session, we were waiting for an approval for the imagery we were using in order just to avoid some concerns related to images or, we want to be very fair and to keep, just to respect and to follow the regulation that the school has for this. This is. Thank you.
Looks good. Yes, go ahead.
Are there have the kids written anything about their understanding of what they have produced on the particular parts, stories associated with the pictures?
For the first part of the workshop, they were also writing little stories about their experience, because our idea was providing them the opportunity to talk about their culture, their environment, their role within the community. So we were encouraging them to tell
on diversity too. During the workshop, we make topics that the children has to develop, like diversity, integrity, respect, that kind of things, to compose the mural.
So is that, do those stories exist in like a document that's being preserved?
We have some photographies about that. Yes.
Because that seems to me to be very interesting and add another dimension. Yeah.
Yes.
add
We
another
can
dimension.
put some on the website too.
I think that would be great.
Yeah, because we were scanning all the sketches they were doing,
Mhm.
and using them as for creating the
Yeah.
whole composition, and we were trying to keep this very very democratic. So we were deciding the composition together, and
Yes.
Yeah. In addition to the interest of somebody who wasn't involved in the project looking at those, I think the kids, if I think about them some years down the road, would love to look at those documents that represent the process and their experience in addition to the final product.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
the idea in the blog. There is at the beginning. If you go to the archive, you can see at the beginning some sketches that they
Mhm.
did. Like for example, let me see. For example, this talking about portraits and
how
With
they
how-
see themselves
Mhm.
Yes.
here.
also that kid put the shoes
Yeah,
on the.
right. That is great.
That's very pretty. Yes. So yes, was very nice. So in the archive of the website, you can see that kind of things. Like for example, who did this? For example, that
Mhm.
or this, and you can see on the mural this piece. So we work first on paper and then on canvas, just to try to that the kids practice close to the surface that they have to
The
do
actual
on the
materials.
on the mural.
Did they get to put their artist's name or initials on the drawing, on the
In
mural?
some, yes, but the thing is that the mural was diversity, so we don't want to focus only in one or two.
Mhm.
That it's a work that was made together,
Mhm.
were made together. So I think it's.
Could their names maybe be listed next to the
Oh yes,
mural?
yes, of
Yeah,
course.
we are thinking about that
yes,
too.
we
Mhm.
have the names here in the presentation. Yeah.
That is very
Yeah. So that's, for example, this kid gave us the idea to put hands around the mural. So it's one of our ideas that the kids provide to.
So there is
mural.
a strip of hands surrounding the whole mural, which is the
Mhm.
idea of
Yes.
being together and like everybody that was participating in the mural, even for just one session, was putting his or her hands.
Yes, over there, some put their flags, the
Mhm.
country, different kind of expressions. Yes,
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, that's a great project.
it was a
Thank you.
great project. Yes,
You thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next grants presentation will be from Corey, I'm sorry, how do you pronounce your name? Emig. And Dulce Esther. And that'll be Beyond Alternatives.
Hi, we're happy to be back presenting to you again this afternoon, and my name is Dulcie Bohm.
And I'm Corey Emig.
And we're actually presenting on a project that just happened this last weekend called Beyond Alternatives, and it was a 3-day, I know this says 2-day, but it ended up being 3-day symposium that we co-organized, and it focused on artist-led organizing outside of large metropolitan areas. And there ended up being people from all over the country, from Washington State to New York City, actually, and we're happy that we were able to work with you, of course, to bring all of those people here and help make it happen. So it ended up being a lot larger than we originally had anticipated.
So it's important for us to say that this 3-day symposium came directly out of our last Urbana Public Arts grant, which was, if you remember, we were here a few months ago presenting for Say Uncle. Since beginning Say Uncle in 2015 with Benjamin Cook, our other collaborator, the Central Illinois area has revealed itself, welcoming Say Uncle as a landscape full of small art communities in small cities and towns. Through touring work and holding exhibitions at a number of spaces, threads and conversations have begun and come to the surface during the regional alternatives discussion, which was organized by Jason Judd, who's a curator at Illinois State University, and Site-Specific Arts, which was formerly the Bloomington Normal Arts Collective, which was organized last spring. It was enriching to have conversations about artist-led projects in the place where the work is actually happening. So this project is very much about being here in the Central Illinois region, especially Urbana, and the work in the arts that is happening here.
So Beyond Alternatives was a response to that growing energy and is intended as, ooh, my mic just came on. It's intended as another jumping point for Central Illinois to continue its work within a broader conversation. It deliberately was not a how-to sort of symposium. Instead, it was meant to bring critical minds together that are already doing arts organizing in collaboration with a variety of partners, from institutions to cities to, of course, each other, and to those invested in going beyond a grassroots approach to arts organizing. Beyond Alternatives aspired to have conversations that were open to specificity of place outside of large metropolitan areas, sustaining both the challenges and opportunities that those places offer to artists and organizers. So it was a little bit focused, as I say, especially outside of cities, because often arts organizing is focused on cities themselves or always meant for an urban audience. So there's a little bit of a shift there.
And with arts organizing, just to clarify, we're talking about like artist-run spaces and artist-run like small organizations, much like Say Uncle was. So with that background, the remainder of this presentation is going to be us telling the story pretty much of this event and how it developed and then how it has unfolded this past weekend at 3 different locations in Urbana. So the first thing we did was start with developing a website, writing about what we wanted to focus on during the symposium, and then putting out a national call for people interested in the same things that we are. This is a screenshot of our website, and the following slide is a call for proposals that was put out to national art opportunity boards, which then led us to have a much broader and ultimately national audience, still focused on Urbana and cities like it in size.
And so while we put out this call to a lot of different places, different opportunity boards for artists, as Corey said, kind of all across the country, we asked different regional spaces that we had contact with through our work with Say Uncle to present about the work that they were already doing in their cities. And these people were all presenters at the symposium, and it was important to us for us to hear the kind of the specifics of what they were doing and how there were similarities and how there were differences from place to place. So one of the spaces that we had was Outhouse in Urbana, which you probably have heard about before, but Albert Stabler is the person who runs that with his partner Katie Fitzdale. And then in Peoria, Project 1612. They run a gallery that's actually that image. It's the space directly behind them. It's their garage, and so they fitted out the inside of their garage to be a gallery space, and so they host artists in residence and shows in there. Jason Judd, and then below that, the 60 inches from center, those two folks were moderating a discussion of all of the other spaces. And Corey said he's a curator, and then Tempest, who we'll talk about a little later, she was the one who came from 60 to kind of moderate with him. Demo Project is actually no longer, but was in Springfield, and it was a house that had been converted into a gallery space. Then Site Specific is a writing platform that is a group of undergraduate students from Bloomington Normal, and they do all kinds of writing, from reviews of shows to artists doing kind of creative writing on their own. And then I just remembered the one that is not listed here is Violet Poe Projects, and that is also, that's in Bloomington Normal as well. And Kendra Pates is the curator or director of that, and it's run out of her home. So artists get total reign, she was saying, of her living room to install things and work with her and her family to do different projects that they're interested in. So those are kind of the variety of regional spaces that we were working with, and again, like, wanted to hear their stories.
And to talk a little bit more about one of our other major partners in this project, which was 60 Inches from Center, which is a art writing platform and archiving initiative out of Chicago. And this is Tempest on the left, and she was in town, and she and the rest of the 60 team has recently written a grant to the Illinois Humanities to do, coincidentally, we found this out after we had already started planning Beyond Alternatives, to basically extend what they're doing in Chicago, which they've done for about 10 years, so they have a pretty big following, out into the central Illinois region. So they're working to, with writers in Champaign, Peoria, Bloomington Normal, and Springfield to document the arts activities that are happening in these smaller cities, and then to publish it on their publication that is in Chicago also. So to just, because a lot of times these things that happen in smaller cities are forgotten or not paid attention to in larger cities, which is one of the reasons we did this. So it's really nice to have them be published and just added to the larger conversation nationally of what's going on.
And just to kind of add on a little extra to that, there's an article that one PhD student in art history, we're working with her to get something written about Beyond Alternatives that will then go on 60 Inches from Center. So that's part of the work that we're doing with them too, is actually, you know, writing about what's going on here. So just wanted to add that in there. So as we were doing all of this programming for the symposium and figuring out what we wanted the content of it to really be, we started to look to local partners, of course, and in the end, these were all the places that we ended up working with for the symposium to happen. So we're very thankful for all of those places and all of you. And it was really, really nice to be able to focus so much with those partners on this place. And so people came into town from, as I said, all over the place, and really got to see, like, they got to eat carrots from Blue Moon Farm, which I think is kind of sweet. So we're very thankful, and it was really nice to work with all of those different folks.
So the main part of the symposium on Saturday afternoon was held at Bluestem Hall, which is an absolutely gorgeous restored barn in South Urbana. You may have heard of it. I know a lot of people have heard of it but haven't been there yet. The woman on the right is Abby Frank, and she is one of the co-founders. This barn has been in her family for 5 generations. So we were able to tell after looking at their website and their Instagram that Abby had an interest in art, and so we approached her about if she might be interested in donating this space, and she was pretty into it and hung out with us all day during the symposium, and at the end asked me to make an announcement to all of the artists there that she wanted them to know that Bluestem Hall is not only a place for weddings, but also a venue that artists should consider for their projects. So Rachel, that's maybe
Great.
something you want to keep in mind.
So in addition to that particular space, the 3 different locations that we had for the symposium on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we had a reception at the Erlinger House in Urbana, and then the Crystal Lake House was where we had a meeting with Tempest about 60 Regional, and then we also had the keynote lecture, which was Patty Johnson. I think her slide is coming up next, but that was held at the Cran Art Museum. So we were kind of, I mean, people also kind of were kind of curious why we were asking of them to go to so many different locations, but it was really nice to be able to highlight the variety of spaces that are here. So some people kind of called it like a scavenger hunt to, to find the different places, which I think, you know, kind of added to the, you know, about it being here, which was really, really nice. So.
So the whole symposium kicked off on Friday evening with the keynote lecture by Patty Johnson. And Patty Johnson is a well-known national writer about artist-led projects, so about like what we were talking about at the symposium. And it was really nice to have her come in and give a keynote lecture that contextualized the type of work that's happening in Central Illinois with a national perspective.
And so these are images just, you know, that people sent us of the reception at Erlinger House. And there's a couple images later, too, that just take pictures of people kind of enjoying themselves, hanging out, getting to actually have time to socialize with each other, which was an important part of the programming, actually, because we wanted to leave space for people to hang out and have a nice time and talk. And so these are just images of that, and then I think there's more coming later as well.
These are images of the symposium actually happening at Bluestem Hall, and one of our partners was the university, and they hired a professional photographer, so we're happy to share all the photos that were taken of the event by that photographer. But these are some of the photos she took, and just you can see we had about 100 people register for the event, and throughout the weekend about 120 people showed up. So one thing you got when you registered were these little books, which you should all have at your little desk. So you can see kind of just the layout of the weekend and bios of all the presenters. And then this is an example of the printed material. So you can see there was a really detailed schedule, and we also had all of our partners highlighted on those printed materials as well.
And so that call that we talked about earlier that we put out nationally to artists and organizers, these are some of the responses we got back. We got back maybe, I think, 10 or 12 proposals, and we chose these 3 folks. So Heath Schultz is actually an alum of the art department here, and Peter Christensen is, I think, came from the furthest away. He's from Washington State. And then Lynette Miranda is a curator and organizer from currently Chicago, but she's been to Kansas City and worked in New York as well. So these were the 3 panels that we had in the afternoon. And then in the morning was, like we said, the regional presentations. So these were kind of adding more context to the conversations that they had in the morning.
And then after the symposium, we invited everyone out to just socialize and hang out. So these are just photos, again, that we've found on other people's social media of them just, you know, enjoying time with Patty Johnson, who, you know, is really awesome that she came and hung out the whole weekend and engaged with everyone.
And this was how we sort of wrapped things up on Sunday at the Crystal Lake House. Tempest gave a more detailed description of what 60 inches from center is, what their goals are in the writing that they do, and then also really opened up the option for regional writers to become directly involved, kind of regardless of how much writing they've done. So she talked about that project more specifically, and then also I just realized that one of the regional writers is featured on their website. This is just a screenshot of their website, so it's kind of nice to see that. So that's how things wrapped up on Sunday, and there was a little discussion afterwards. You know, folks had an opportunity to ask her questions too after she'd given her presentation. So.
And we just want to end with a thank you. This would not have been possible without your support, and it means a lot to us. And we've had so many artists come up and tell us how informative and amazing the weekend was for them and inspiring. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more spaces or projects pop up over the next year.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Do you have plans to do this again next year?
What was that?
Do you have plans to do this again next year?
We've talked about it. We both won't be here,
Yeah.
but Tempest at 60 has asked us, now that we have kind of planted the seeds for this event, she has hinted that she might be interested in helping it happen again in this area.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So,
Anybody have any comments or questions?
I attended a chunk of it. I couldn't go to everything, and it was very nice. Like, it's exactly what I guess this we should be funding. It really I think it's really important to have Urbana or be focused on fine arts in Urbana and not just these things that are, not to say that any of the other things that we fund, there's anything wrong with them. I mean, those are great things as well, but that kind of like the whole point of this thing is to show that you can have fine and quote unquote high-end art in other places besides major cities, and this is a perfect example of how that can work. And in the structure of it really, I felt like is going to generate other things like that.
yeah, it was really interesting when Patty, I picked Patty up for the airport on Sunday morning, and from the drive from university to the airport in Savoy, she was just talking nonstop about how much she loved this event. And, she's been focused on this topic for, 15 years in her career. And she's like, there's so many things about artist-run spaces and the Midwest and just smaller cities that I've never, ever thought about. And she's like, this just really widened my perspective of this way of working. So I think it was cool for her, too, to, like, go back and and actually learn something when she thought she kind of knew what there is to know about this topic. So I do think, that was important, too.
Yeah. Well, and it certainly showcases Urbana, so it's all to the good also. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I think both Corey and Dulcie have been such powerhouses in the short time that they've been involved with the public arts program. One of the things they brought with them today was another publication about Say Uncle, which was also funded by the Urbana Public Arts Program. So I'm just going to pass this around. I'd love to get it back before the end of the evening, but I want to share that with all of you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we got the staff presentation next. The monthly progress report. It was passing around. I imagine you saw it.
I'm going to keep it snappy tonight. We'll try our best. So this is your report for the month of April. I'm going to begin by saying that our 10th funding cycle of the Arts Grant Program yielded 45 applications requesting $127,479. With $47,500 available, we were able to fund 35 projects for this 2018 cycle. I recently held 3 orientations for grant recipients to attend. This is a new piece of the puzzle. We wanted to give them an opportunity to hear more directly from me about how we can work together during the course of their project and how we can sort of mutually support each other in documentation and that sort of thing, as well as what makes a successful project and some of the program goals we have for the Arts Grant Program and our public arts program in general and how they might translate into their individual projects. So those were really wonderful. There are a few people who weren't able to attend any of those 3, so I'll likely be offering a couple more after the Boneyard Arts Festival wraps up. Projects, as you can tell from the last presentation, that was a 2018 presentation, are already underway. I don't know if you gathered that much. They were sort of funded, signed their contract, did their program, wrote their final report yesterday because they wrapped up on Sunday. So that was really wonderful. Related to that, of course, we have a celebration event coming up, and I encourage everyone to attend. This is our sneak peek event. It'll be held at Broadway Food Hall on April 26th from 5:30 to 7:30. We'll be celebrating all of the grant recipients. We'll hear from local band Melvin Knight and the Autumn Sky, and it'll have free appetizers, and it'll be an event for celebrating together. We also have a couple of other exciting new developments related to Boneyard Arts Festival. Our latest Artist of the Corridor is A Story of My Life by Dodie Buzzard. Dodie's 98, going on 99 this week, watercolorist who lives at Clark Lindsay. She's been painting only in the last few years and has been painting every single week to try to improve her skills. And she will be displaying a lot of different pieces that are all kind of connected to her own memories and love of nature and her family. Her reception is this Friday, April 13th at noon here at City Hall. We'll have some appetizers, and we invite everyone to come out and celebrate with her. It's actually her birthday, so we'll be having a big community birthday party with cake for her. So we encourage you to come out. Similarly, her closing reception's on April 27th. That will also be another birthday party celebration. She gets to celebrate her birthday the whole time. And the Urbana Free Libraries are going to have like birthday card making stations and things going on. Related to Artists of the Corridor, we recently had our sort of closing reception for Lydia Puticombe, our last artist. We've been really experimenting with the closing receptions being at the Urbana Free Library. And as you might recall, they began as sort of artist talks that we introduced over there. And in this case, they've kind of grown to become more family-oriented, interactive closing receptions. So with Lydia's, I know Sarah Jones attended. I'm not sure anyone else was there, but it was a really, really, really fun. She brought her 2 guinea pigs. So there was a guinea pig I guess, interactive piece that was involved, sort of show and tell of her art. She had her art displayed. We had the library had 3D printed tiny guinea pig pots, and then you could plant a plant inside of them, which if you've seen her art, completely connects with the work that she does. So there was a lot of really fun and interactive stuff at that event. We had a great turnout. And the library is really getting excited about the possibility of having these sort of kid-friendly closing receptions. So we're moving a little bit away from the artist talk and more towards the artist show and tell. That's more informal, it's more all ages, and then sort of activities for the closing at the libraries. And those are always held at the Lewis Auditorium now. Fittingly, Dodie's also the April Art Now featured artist. And there were a couple of reasons for this. One is that we really wanted to feature her, but also because for many artists, it is an opportunity to give an artist talk. For Dodie, that may be a little difficult, but she was willing to do a video where she talked, and then we're going to show the video at the closing reception, and it will actually play in here on Friday during the reception as well. So we'll have some more of her artwork on display in here, and then the video playing on a loop. But this, of course, airs with all the other Art Nows on UPTV Channel 6 and on YouTube. This upcoming Saturday, our Art in the Square continues. It actually is the last Art in the Square before the market goes outdoors with the art at the market activities. This features Los Guapos, and they'll be playing at 10 a.m. At the Lincoln Square Mall, followed by 2 demonstrations of arts organizations that are based in the mall. We're going to have a demonstration from Hybrid Performance Arts and a demonstration from Capoeira of their services that are there. In the afternoon, pending wonderful weather, keep your fingers very crossed, we are going to be having our Urbana Celebrates the Boneyard event. And that will be from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Boneyard Creek Crossing, corner of Race and Griggs Streets in Urbana. For this event, we're going to be having DJ'd music by Dance Music Therapy, 3 different DJs who work together to have 8-hour dance parties. I mentioned them last month. We're also going to have Joyful Bubbles doing a bubble display, Whimsy Pixie Paint doing high-quality, high-artistry face paint on children. And we're going to have a number of art stations provided by the IMC zine librarians who are making an Art in Urbana zine. We're going to be having an art station from the Urbana Park District for the Urbana Public Arts Program, and even a portion of the Urbana Lincoln Square Visioning Project as an arts project will be there as well. And we're also going to be having performances from Satina and Michael Moxie, and they're going to be doing magic shows and juggling and hula hoop dancing. So it'll be a pretty fun event. If it comes indoors, it'll be in Lincoln Square Mall, and we also will have food trucks if it's outdoors, etc. Another thing that's coming up is our next Youth Artist Studios. The Young Artist Studios series has been really successful. We've had usually between 40 and 50 kids at every workshop. This next one is called the Imagination Station, and youth are going to get a chance to kind of dream up their own stories and bind books. And that's going to be led by Nika Lux. The next one after that will feature Camilla Gowacki, and that will be in June. This one is our May one. The one that's actually coming up this weekend, I took off of here, but maybe should have left it on, and that is a Navajo storytelling with Beverly Smith. She's a Navajo artist, and she lives here locally, and she's going to be leading a storytelling exercise, and they'll be making paintings together. But of course, the biggest news is that Boneyard Arts Festival is this weekend, and we have actually broken a record with Boneyard Arts Festival. There are more Urbana venues this year than any previous year. So Urbana is very much on the map. There's lots to do this weekend. So our Urbana days are Friday the 13th and Saturday the 14th. Thursday is Campus Day, and of course Sunday is sort of surrounding areas day. So we encourage you to go out to as much as you can. A full calendar of entries, including the entries from our program, which is Dodie Buzzard's opening, and also the Urbana Celebrates the Boneyard event, are available at boneyardartsfestival.org. And as usual, we're continuing to seek support for art in Urbana, encouraging people to highlight art where they see it. I'm also pleased to introduce a new intern, and that's Maddie Talbert. She comes again from the Community Learning Lab initiative through the University of Illinois. She's only putting in about, it averages to 2 hours per week if she came the whole semester, but because she's starting so late in the semester, she's actually putting in a number of hours. So she'll be with me this weekend at some of our Boneyard events. She's come and she works Friday afternoons here at the city, and she's helping specifically with special events and marketing efforts. She's a freshman in Media and Cinema Studies and has taken an interest in Art Now and some of the other projects we're doing. So she's also met with Jason Liggett, and we're working together to give her some great experiences for her resume. My plan is to have her, if possible, come to the next meeting and give a presentation, but that meeting falls very much during finals week, so we'll see if she's available. She's tentatively put it on her calendar, and if she's not, I'll be giving a presentation that she's making for the commission to hear about the work that she's done. And this is just a little more about the Community Learning Lab. Again, it started with the School of Social Work, and it has really expanded at the university, offering kind of internship placements. They receive class credit or James Scholar project completion credits for their work. So they are unpaid internships, but they do receive sort of course credit towards their degree. And the School of Social Work has really, as I said, expanded this program, which is really interesting. So now I've actually had a lot of interest from the School of Media and Cinema Studies. My previous student, Samantha Schrag, which you may remember, was from the College of Media as well. So we've had a lot of interest from the College of Media. I still am in conversations with the School of Art and Design as far as developing a regular internship program, potentially for class credit through their school. And as usual, we continue to seek volunteers. So if anyone is interested, they can go to urbanaillinois.us/arts and see the volunteer sign-up page. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I'd like to point out that for the first time, both Champaign and Urbana will have 2 days,
I know.
which I
thought
think
that
is
was
exciting.
new too. It's new. Yeah.
That's new. So just wanted to point that out.
It's not new.
Really?
Oh, okay. It always
thought it
seemed
was.
like one had one day and the other one had the other.
Yeah, it did.
Started sharing about 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
They're like, we want better weather.
Okay.
True, here, give it a day and it'll get better.
Yeah, we'll definitely be making the call about the Urbana Celebrates the Boneyard event as far as weather is concerned in the next couple of days. And really wonderfully, the Park District as a partner has a weather system where you call a number and you know where the new location is and everything. So we'll be making a post about that depending on whether we move it.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody have any announcements they want to make? Okay. In that case, I would move that we adjourn. Can I have a second? All right.
Second.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you for coming.